You can see we are now recording, and now we go back to the screen share. Here we go. Okay, we are about to begin our shiur once again. We begin with the statement at the beginning of Pirkei Avos: Kol Yisrael yesnam chelik b'olam haba. All of Israel has a share in the world to come. Shenemar, he quotes the pasuk Yeshayav Amech Kulam Tzadikim. Your entire nation is righteous. L'olam Yirshu Oretz, they shall forever inherit the land. Neitzer Matoi, they are the branch of my planting. Maaseh Yodai Lehispire, they are the work of my hands, that I may be glorified, says Hashem. The Jewish people bring Kiddush Hashem when they follow the Torah that Hashem gave us. Our Mishnah is continuing with the Mishnah in Perek Gimel, and the Mishnah is known as Mishnah Daled Hey, as we have it listed over here as Daled. Rabbi Chanina ben Chachinoi Omer, Rabbi Chanina, the son of Chachinoi, says, Haneir Balayla, one who stays up at night, and he walks on the road alone, and he turns his heart to bitul, to nullification, to nothingness. The person is liable for his own life. We discussed quite a bit about this already, but tonight we're going to go a little further into this discussion. The statement that Rabbi Nina ben Chachinoi starts out with is Haneir Balayla, someone who stays up at night. But the second part of it is V'hamahalech Baderech Yechidi. What does that mean? He walks on the road of alone. Wouldn't it have been better grammatically to say Hamahalech Yechidi Baderech? That the person is walking alone on the road? Doesn't that make more grammatical sense in terms of the Lashon Kodesh usage? Hamahalech Yechidi Baderech means if someone walks alone on the way. When you say Hamahalech B'derech Yechidi, it's almost as if you're saying he walks on the path of the one and only.
Yeah,
he walks on the path of the Yechidi. He walks on the path of Hashem. And that's perhaps what it means, says the Toldos Yaakov Yosef in the name of the Maritz Kassever. He says it means someone who is Neir Balayla. He's staying up at night. He's up at night because he's worried about the Jewish people. He's worried about the future of himself, his family, the Jews around him. As the old Yiddish expression went, was et sein? What's going to be with Klal Yisrael? And he is a good man because he's Mahalech Baderech Yechidi. He is going on the path of the one and only Hashem. He's going on the right path. So he's got two great qualities. One of them is that he's up at night worried about the Jewish people. The other one is that he goes in Hashem's path. But there is a problem here. He's mefane libo lebatola. He turns his heart and says, there is no hope. There is no future. It's not going to happen. Jews don't learn. They don't learn the lesson. They're never going to learn. This is never going to straighten out. Oh, you turn your heart to never? You turned your heart to nullification? You gave up? You said there is no hope? I want you to know something, says Rabbi Chanina ben Chachinoi. You're causing your own downfall. You're making a big mistake. even though you're a good person and you walk in Hashem's way, but you have this quirk that you're negative about what's going to be, and everything is only libatala, everything is only ruination. Listen, Rabbi, they say to me, it hasn't changed in 2,000 years. What are you giving people false hope? Oh no, I'm not giving you false hope. Rabbi Chanina ben Chachinoi, who was one of the Asara Haruge Malchus, said it. He said it. Don't ever give up. Don't ever despair. First of all, you can be better. You can make a difference. You do make a difference in this world. Hashem put you here because you make a difference. You count. That's why you're here. And what you can contribute, no one else can contribute. And consequently, even though you have two very, very good qualities, but you're missing out on the positive side. You're not saying, Ani mamin b'emunah shalema b'viyas HaMashiach, v'af al pi she'yisma meya im kol zeh achake lo b'chol yom she'yovo. And even though he's tarried so long, I wait for him to come any day now. If you give up on that, even if you're walking in Hashem's way and the other way, you're making such an error that you actually be mischayev b'nafsha. You're giving up. You're not going to be able to see it, because you can't live to see it for the very simple reason that you don't believe it's ever going to happen. And in fact, the Gemara, and is quoted by Rashi in the Mitzudas in Melachim Beis, says that if somebody doesn't believe Mashiach's going to come, he's not going to live to see the Mashiach. Well, if someone has emunah shalema, that it can come and he will come, then you're zoche v'roeh. You're guaranteed to be worthy to see the salvation. You're guaranteed to see the nechama that's going to come to Yerushalayim Ira Kodesh. So Rabbi Chanina ben Chachinoi is giving us that very important piece of news, that it's important to stay positive. Let's go on a little bit. According to the Torah's Avos, as we mentioned in the last comment, then the Golus is a little bit like night. The night is a pretty dark night. And when we're in Golus, it's very difficult. When we're in exile, it's very difficult to maintain the line of observance of the Torah. The pressures on the outside, from the outside world, are so enormous. I sometimes am amazed at the strength of the Jewish emunah. We have so many reasons to just give it all up, as we mentioned in the past statement, and yet the Jewish people in this dark night, we don't give up. We are neyor balayla. We awaken at night, meaning even in the darkness of the Golus, when it's easy to give up, we are awake to try to stir things up a bit. So someone who's neyor balayla, and he goes the derech yichidi and mefana libo levatala, somehow one of these, or two of these, or three of these are causing him to be totally lost. Now, the way we had just explained, Laila meaning Golus, Laila meaning the exile, the darkness of the exile, and yet the person is neyor, he's awake at night. Many people sleep through the Golus. They're like sleeping Jews. Their Judaism is asleep. Their Yiddishkeit is taking a nap. As the pasuk in Shiur HaShirim says, Libi or, my heart is awake, but Yeshenim, they're sleeping. So if someone is not sleeping and he's awake, it means he's utilizing every minute in the exile, even though it's a very good exile. You know, those of us who live here in this Malchus Shel Chesed, as Rav Moshe Zatzal termed the kingdom of America, he termed it a Malchus Shel Chesed, a kingdom of kindness. And yet, we're not sleeping through it and saying, this is the way it is, it's not going to change, but like we said before. But he's awake at night. He's going to wake himself up. He's going to make sure that I realize, or she's going to make sure I realize I have a lot to accomplish in this world that is a falsehood, in a world that emphasizes, unfortunately, so many times the wrong things. I'm awake at night. And I'm not going to turn my heart to Batola. I won't turn my heart to foolishness. Even though some people do, and they turn away and they say, give up, but I'm not going to do that. But there's a problem here. You know what that problem is? That problem is your mahalech yechidi. You're going baderech yechidi. Someone who thinks my way is the right way. My way, my derech yechidi. I know the right way. All these other guys, they don't know the right way. You know how many people there are who lump together large segments of faithful, observant Jews into one lump because there's one thing about this particular group they don't care for. There's something about them that bothers you. And it may be that what bothers you about them is perfectly legitimate, because people do make mistakes. But imagine on the outside looking in, imagine what they see from the other side. And they look at you, and imagine if they would say, our way is the only way. There is no other way. I know better than you. And they lose sight of the fact that the people of Israel are 12 tribes. You know what 12 tribes mean? 12 tribes means that there's at least 12 perfectly legitimate paths within the Torah to be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Torah. There are 12 legitimate different paths of coming close within the framework of the Torah. Whether that path includes wearing a kippah sluga, or it includes wearing a shtreimel, or it includes wearing a yeshiva shahat, or it includes not wearing any hat, just a yarmulke. Maybe the yarmulke is velvet and it doesn't have 6 points and it doesn't have a black rim around it. And I never wear a white shirt. And I rely on this hechsher. You rely on that hechsher? Oh, you. How could you rely on this hechsher? It's not a Hasidic hechsher. You're right. But it's 100% kosher. It's the best hechsher on earth, as far as we're concerned. There are 12 ways, perfectly legitimate. This person is up at night trying to be better. But when he walks on the Derech Yechidi, he walks on his own path, and he's mefana his heart, libo, levatala. Everything else, every other path, every other way is bittul. I'm a vatal everybody except my way. I'm a vatal everybody. My way is the right way. Only my way is the right way. You know what? Harezem is chayav b'nafsho. You are causing your own downfall. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. There isn't only one way. Jews have many different ways. Look, in the halacha that we studied at night, you see the Mechaber said that we don't make Kiddush in shul anymore. And the Ramah came along and said that we do make Kiddush in shul. So let me ask you, if someone makes Kiddush in shul, is he going against the halacha and is he doing the wrong thing? Absolutely not. If someone doesn't make Kiddush in shul, are they doing something wrong? Absolutely not. That's your minhag, based on the Beis Yosef. 100%. Your Rav is a gadol b'Torah of a Yiras Shemayim, and he says this way, kol hakavod. It's not against the halacha. There's no halacha that says he has to do this way. This is his choice of the two streams in halacha. One saying you can say Kiddush in shul. The other one saying you don't have to say Kiddush in shul. But both say if you choose the other path, you're not transgressing. You're not doing anything wrong. If someone says my minhag is to say Lashon Hara, that's a different story. Because you don't have anyone of a Torah stature backing you up.
But Rabbi Snow, the point is, they both say, that you have to make Kiddush.
Right.
This one says you make Kiddush in shul, you don't make Kiddush in shul, but you got to make Kiddush.
No, like we learned in the Shiur yesterday. One says making Kiddush in shul is a minhag that you should do, and the other one says making Kiddush in shul is no longer a minhag that you should do. Okay, the Mechaber holds this way, the Ramah holds that way. No, nish gefährlich. There's no problem. Okay, we're not getting into that halacha, but the point that we're making is, if you have a shita and you go your way and your gaiva is of such tremendous import for you that you stand up and say my way or the highway, you're going to go on a different highway. You're going to go on the highway as Harezem is chayav b'nafsho. You're destroying yourself. You're killing the Jewish people. You're making a wedge in the Torah community. And that should not be done. It should not be done. Every single Jew is a Jew, is a Jew, is a Jew. And as long as they're loyal to the principles of the Torah, and as long as they follow the halacha, if you go your way, the other one goes his way, their way of doing it is your way of doing it, no problem. For you it works, great. For you it works to dress this way or to dress that way, kol hakavod. If that's the way it works, fine. There are Yereim Ushleimim on both sides of that fence, on 3 sides, on 12 sides, different ways. Kol hakavod. And consequently, Rabbi Chanina ben Chachinoi is saying, if someone's going to go and he's going to be Neyor Balayla, he's going to be worried about the Golos, he's going to go on his own path, and he's going to say everybody else is bottle, that is a dangerous game to play, and we should have absolutely no share in it and no part in it. Now, we're going to go a step further. The Mincha Shabbos carries it and even a step further. And he says as follows. If you'll take a look, I'm not going to show it to you over here. We don't have to see it. Trust me. If you'll take a look in the Rambam's Hilchas Tshuva, in Perek Hey, Halacha Hey, the Rambam is discussing one of the most difficult philosophical concepts for a human being to possibly absorb. Rabbi Akiva put it succinctly. He said, Hakol Sofui, everything is seen, V'orashus Nesina, and free will is granted. Everything is known, and free will is granted. He doesn't go into philosophy. He just says it's a fact. It's a fact. Everything is known, free will is granted. So you'll say, wait a minute. If everything is known, that means you know what I'm going to choose. And if you know what I'm going to choose, therefore you don't have free will. So the Rambam in Hilchos Tshuva raises this halachic quandary. The Rambam says that everyone has a free will to choose to be righteous or wicked. Whether you're going to be wealthy or poor, that's not necessarily in your choice. Whether you're going to be tall or short, that might not be in your realm of choice. Whether you're going to have a pitching arm that can throw a ball at 98 miles an hour, or you're going to just be an average Joe and you'll never get on a professional baseball team, that might not be your choice. But there's one thing that is your choice. You have the right to choose to be a God-fearing person. As the pasuk in Devarim says, Va'ato Yisrael, Mo Hashem shoel mi'imach. What does Hashem ask of you? Ki im liyira oso. Only to fear God. And from there, the Gemara quotes, and Rashi brings it down in Chumash, Hakol b'dei shamayim, chutz miyira shamayim. Everything is in God's hands, except whether you choose to have fear of God. So the Rambam in Hilchos Tshuva says, you have the right to make free choice. And don't listen to those fools who go and say that because God knows everything, that means he knows a priori what you're going to choose. Ergo, you really don't have free choice because he knows what you're going to choose, and therefore it's not a free choice at all. And this quandary, says the Rambam, is rachok mini yam. It's wider than the sea, and you shouldn't worry about it. Don't trouble your head about it. The fact is, Hashem knows everything, and the fact is, you have free will. There's no contradiction. You think there is, but it's not. That's what the Rambam says. So the Raavad comes along on that place, Perek Hey Halacha Hey, the Rambam, and he says, the master, the rabbi, talking about the Rambam, has done something he should never have done. He raised a question for which he didn't give an answer. You're not supposed to raise questions for which you have no answer. Why did he do that? It's a big mistake. And now let me give you the answer. And the Raavad goes and gives an answer. And after he gives the answer, he says, this answer is no good either. The Rambam should never have raised this question. That's what the Raavad says. It's interesting to note that someone once came to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Zichron Livracha, and he said to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, what's this business that you're teaching Kabbalah to people? Why do you have, this was in the 70s and 80s, you know. Why are you having classes in Kabbalah? Why do you do that? Kabbalah is supposed to be learned by the greatest minds who know all the Nigla. They know all the revealed Torah. Why are you teaching them the hidden Nister Torah? Why are you doing this? So the Lubavitcher Rebbe answered him and he said, I'm following the Rambam. Why did the Rambam raise this issue of free will versus a priori knowledge of HaKadosh Baruch Hu if he didn't give the answer? I want to tell you why. Because the Rambam lived in Aristotelian times. Aristotle and the other famous or infamous philosophers, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, they asked this terrible question. And because they couldn't get an answer, So they went off the deep end. They went off the deep end. They were capable of murder and suicide, drinking poison, hemlock. Anything was possible because there was no faith in God. So the Rambam was living at a time where the great philosophers of the day were raising this question. So he said to himself, says Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Rambam said to himself, if I ignore the question, people are going to say, you know why, Rabbi Maimon, you're still a frum man? Because you never thought of this question. Had you thought of this question, you wouldn't be religious either. You wouldn't believe in God either. So the Rambam, who was the most brilliant of philosophers ever to walk the face of this earth, the Rambam himself raised this question. And then he said, and it doesn't matter. My emunah and betochen in HaKadosh Baruch Hu is 100%. And I don't want you to think I didn't think of this question, because I thought of it, and I said to you, don't worry about it. It's nothing. It's a fact. We have free will, and God knows everything. No problem. It's no problem. Just so you should know that I'm raising the question so that you shouldn't think I didn't know about it. And therefore, I'm religious, because if I would have thought about it, I wouldn't be religious. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, I'm teaching Kabbalah because you'll excuse the expression, Tom, Dick, and Harry is opening up Kabbalah institutes, or is it Tom, Dick, and Harry and Mary? I don't know, whichever one of them, whichever whatever her name was over there, who opened up the Kabbalah Institute. Whatever it is, if somebody would do that, and they would say, you know why you're a religious Jew? Because you don't ever study Kabbalah. Because look at all these people, they know Kabbalah, you don't know, and that's why you're still religious. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, let them know that we are the Kabbalah people. We are the ones of the Nistar, of the hidden Torah. And so we're teaching it. Now, along comes Rabbi Chanina ben Chachinoi, and he comes along and he says, Haneir Balayla. There's a man who's up all night long because he can't figure out the question that's bothering him about the contradiction between is there free will or isn't there free will? If God knows everything, how could there be free will? So he's up all night and he's mahalech b'derech yichidi. He's trying to go on the path of the one and only God, but hamefane libo levatola. And he says that mefane libo levatola means from the word pen. Pen, maybe. Maybe this way is correct. Maybe that way is correct. You know that the Gemara in Chagiga brings up that if somebody starts learning about the Maaseh Merkava alone, they're going to go out of their minds. We know that there were 3 that entered the Pardes, 3 who entered into the orchard. Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Akiva, and Ben Zoma. And the only one who came out whole was Rabbi Akiva, because they entered into an area where they couldn't fathom. It's like, as I once said before, our human mind cannot encompass infinity because we have a finite mind. Anything that's finite cannot encompass infinity. It's interesting to note that there's such a word, because how did there get to be a concept of infinity if we're finite? Where do we ever get up this idea from? Of course, the idea comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because the name of Hashem Yud Kei Vav Kei is made up of Haya, was, Hoveh, is, and Yihye, will be. Those are the 4 letters of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Haya, Hoveh, Yihye, was, is, and will be, which means he's infinite. He's infinite. He is beyond time, beyond space. Always was, always is, and always will be. Because he told us that there's something as infinity. He taught humanity that there's something called infinity, which a human being on his own probably could never have thought of, because it's finite, we're limited. And along comes Rabbi Hanina ben Chachinoi, and he says, I want you to know, if you're staying up at night, worried about this philosophical conundrum, and even if you're trying to go on the path of the righteous Hashem, but your pen, maybe there is a Bari Olam. Maybe there is in Chas v'Sholem a Bari Olam. You're mafan eliba lebatola. You're nullifying all the logic of the past, all the logic of our tradition, of the Masorah going back to Har Sinai. We spoke the other day about only about 40-something generations, 80-something generations separating us from 3,300 years ago. If it would be 32, it would be 80 generations, because each generation is 40 years. 40 times 80 is 320, 3,200. It's not many people. I mean, many people go around thinking, there's this endless gap. It's not that many people. It's not so many people. You remember your father, perhaps your grandfather, perhaps even a great-grandfather, maybe. And some people even 5 generations. Today we have 5 generations. We see it. People are blessed to live long lives. They could see possibly 5 generations. And those 5 are all following the Torah. And that's why it says in the Chumash, "V'odatem levanecha v'levnei vanecha, yom asher amaretu lefnei Hashem l'kecha b'chorev." You should let know your son, your son's sons, and your son's sons. Let it know. Levanecha v'levnei vanecha. It says the Gemara in Kedushin, anyone, kol ha'malamed as ben beno Torah, anyone who teaches his grandson Torah, ki'ilu kibla me Har Sinai. It's as if he received it from Mount Sinai, because the child says to his father, how do you know this is true? So the father says, I heard it from my father. So the child goes to the grandfather, and the grandfather says, yes, I heard it from my father. So now there's a shalsheles, a chain, as the pasuk says, v'chut ha'meshulosh b'meheira lo yinatek, that the triplicate wound strand will not quickly unravel, because it's parent to son to grandson to great-grandson, and they see it. Just ask. Ask your father, ask your elders. So Rabbi Hanina ben Chachinoi is coming along and he's saying, if somebody is pen, maybe, and is levatola, and he nullifies all the past teachings, and he goes into the question, why did the Rambam raise this issue? And he shouldn't have done it, and I don't have to hear from this. Well, how can I resolve this philosophical conundrum? It's impossible, and therefore maybe I'm a vatal everything. Chas v'sholem. God forbid. I'm telling you, plain chlora debura, as clear as you can say it, no contradiction. Now, if you want to know why there's no contradiction, I don't have the time today to explain it. But I once gave a shiur on exactly how to visualize this in some way. I don't have time. We don't have time. It'll take too long. In a nutshell, because I don't want you to go away with nothing. In a nutshell, very quickly. I'll try to make it small if we can all chop it very quickly. It goes like this. We live in 2 dimensions. Okay? We live on this world. We can think about the past, present, and future, but we don't know the future. We know a little bit about the past, and we have the present, but we don't know the future. And consequently, we're living in a past, present, and future 3-dimensional world, perhaps, but we only know of 2. We don't know the future. So we're limited. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees all dimensions, everything at once. Now, let me explain this very quickly to you. What do we say every day in the davening? B'ruchat Hashem Mogein Avraham. What does Mogein Avraham mean? Mogein Avraham means the shield of Avraham. It's not past tense, it's present tense. Hashem is the shield of Avraham. When we say Rofei Cholei Amo Yisrael. He is healing the sick of the Jewish people. It's in the present tense, right? Shomeya Tefillah. He hears prayers, present tense, right? Everything in the present, every single one of the brachos that you want to ask for are in the present tense. Everything in the present tense. It's all the here and the now. But I want to tell you something. When Hashem said Mogein Avraham, that we said Hashem is the shield of Abraham, it meant he's the shield of Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, Yosef, and David, your grandfather, my great-grandfather, my great-great-great, and my grandchildren. He is the shield all times of the Jewish people. Present tense, all the way through. When Hashem sees the world, he doesn't see the world as past, present, and future. He sees it all happening right now. Everything is there at this moment because there is no past. There is no future. He's all one. He is omnipresent. He sees the whole world's history in one moment. It's all happening now. By the way, right now, at this moment, Moshe Rabbeinu is on Har Sinai giving us the Torah. We are now, at this moment, receiving the Torah. It's happening right this second. That's why it says in Shema, for you advarim ha'ela, and these words should be, Asher anochi mitzavecha, which I am commanding you, hayom, today. I'm commanding it today. It's in the present tense. So Hashem sees everything in the present tense. Since Hashem sees everything in the present tense, when Hashem sees you doing something, he doesn't see you doing it in the future. He sees you doing it now. Because everything's the present. You don't see yourself doing something 20 years from now because you don't see the future. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he sees the future, he sees you doing it now. He's not influencing your decision. He just sees what you're doing. He sees what you chose to do. And what you chose to do is what he's seeing. He knows what you will choose to do because you chose to do it. But you had the free will to choose it. So there's no contradiction. If you got it, great. If you didn't, it's also good. Because the fact is, there's no contradiction. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows, and you choose. That's one simple explanation. We'll leave it at that. There are other explanations. But Rabbi Hanina ben Chachinoi is giving us an insight into someone who gives up and he says, pen, maybe yes, maybe no. He is Mischayev B'naf Sho. And that concludes tonight's session on Pirkei Avos. Before you go, Baruch Hashem, many things are better in terms of the pandemic that we are in. It's not over. We hope it would be over, but unfortunately it's not over. We're at a place where it's better. It's better, but it's not over. But because it's better, our shul is opening up with the advice of the medical professionals a little bit more. Yetz Hashem, beginning Friday morning, Yetz Hashem, I hope to be in shul. And for Shabbos too, Yetz Hashem, hope to be in shul. There are still very important guidelines. No one may come to shul without wearing a mask.
Is that being, excuse me, Rabbi, for interrupting, is that being enforced?
If you come to shul...
Rabbi, again, I asked the question, is it being enforced?
If a person comes to shul and is not wearing a mask, then he is asked to put one on or leave.
And women also, right?
Yes, women too. No one may be in shul without a mask.
Okay.
Now, because we're starting to go back to normal, there is going to be a change in schedule. At this point, on Friday morning, tomorrow morning will be 7:30, same regular time. But on Friday morning, the daf will be at 7 o'clock.
And what time is the minyan?
And minyan will be at 8 o'clock. I will be in shul at 7 for the daf. And those who are in our neighborhood should please come to the daf at 7 in the morning. We will be sitting in the Beis Medrash at different tables. I will also, in Yetz Hashem, we're planning right now that the daf, if everything technologically works out, will also be on Zoom for those who don't live in our neighborhood but have been joining the daf. But if you live in our neighborhood, please come to the daf in person and be counted with our learners of the daf, and we will daven at 8 o'clock with the social distancing that we have prescribed and the medical profession insists on, and we will insist on it. Again,
are we going to get back to 7 o'clock davening?
I'd like to. We're not making a decision about it now because now is not a good time to make that decision. We are working at first maintaining a 7 o'clock daf and an 8 o'clock minyan. We will, in Yirtzeh Hashem, strive to go back to a 6 o'clock daf and a 7 o'clock minyan. We will need the input of all in our neighborhood who are interested in seeing to it that our minyanim continue. It should be 2 minyanim. There is, I think, enough people. We are losing people to the 8 o'clock minyan from the 7 o'clock minyan because we can't daven at 7. There are some people who'd love to come, but we don't have enough yet because of this pandemic. And consequently, we are now only at 8. But the hope and the plan is that we will go to 7 and 8. It's going to take some doing and some time because of the situation that we're in. I'm sorry? Yes. Now, in terms, okay, here we go. We're trying to arrange the other shiurim. As of this time, there will not be a Pirkei Avos shiur or a Gemara shiur on Shabbos. As of this time. In fact, even though the Chazan will be davening this Shabbos, we will be making it a fast davening, and please don't all clap your hands, please. The rabbi will not be speaking. Okay.
So you're not coming downstairs. You're not coming downstairs either, Rabbi.
No. The rabbi will not be speaking this Shabbos.
Because we're having a minyan downstairs.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
I am not going to be speaking this Shabbos because we don't want people to stay in shul too long.
Than they have to.
Too long. And even though Divrei Torah are crucial, but we are phasing in all the activities slowly but surely. The Daf Yomi on Shabbos may very well be in the morning. I need you to tell me if you will come to the Daf at 7:30. Anyone who can come, I'm calling people. If you can come at 7:30, the Daf will be 7:30 Shabbos morning. It's very late at night, Shabbos night, to give the Daf at 10 p.m. It's very difficult for people to concentrate. And then the next morning to be up at 7 and to be in shul, it's difficult. So we're asking that those in the neighborhood who are part of our daf, come Shabbos morning at 7:30. If you daven at the 8 o'clock minyan, of course, you're not going to be able to come. But maybe until things straighten out, you'll come to the 7:30 daf. You'll daven upstairs. Wouldn't be a bad idea. And then in Yetz Hashem, things will get back. So that's the way we're planning now. We don't know yet. It's going to take a day or two till all the people are spoken to and everyone tells us when they're going to be showing up. But we are starting to open up. Rabbosai, please make sure everybody understands. Without a mask, you can't come. It's impossible. Because statistics have shown that wearing a mask cuts the risk of infection more than in half. In fact, one of the studies by the Mayo Clinic put the ratio, a difference between over 17% to less than 3%. You know what that means? That means it's gone down 1/6 of a risk. That means the risk without a mask is 6 times greater than with a mask. And consequently, everyone...
Without a mask, you mean?
The risk without a mask is 6 times greater than with a mask.
Right.
So this is crucial. This is crucial. The only one who will not be wearing a mask is the one who's davening for the Amid. Because you can't daven for the Amid and wear a mask. It's impossible.
They do it here.
Okay? In a small little room, you can do it.
Yeah.
When you're a chazan, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, it can't be done. Okay. Okay, what can you do? That's the way it
And
is.
what about during the week, Rabbi? Somebody davens for the Amud, could he wear a mask?
If you can handle it, you should, yes. Yes. Okay, so listen, we're doing the best we can. We're trying to do the best we can.
Sunday morning, same time. 8 o'clock.
So-
Davening, 7 o'clock.
So Sunday morning,
Same time.
if we institute
Yeah.
the daf at 7 on Friday,
Right.
it will be again at 7 on Sunday.
Sunday. Okay.
But the minyan is at 8 o'clock on
The
Sunday.
minyan's at 8, like every other day for the near future.
Okay, so on the phone, you know, I call the same thing, Friday and Sunday.
With Yirtz Hashem, we're hoping if we can get the technological aspects done, we will broadcast it at that time with the same Zoom numbers. Yes, that's what we're planning on doing. We hope it can work out. I can't guarantee it yet, but I'm pretty sure it'll work out. All right?
Sure.
We're already planning it, so it should be done. Okay, we're finished with the